Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Cayman Collective once again. Uh, Brought to you by the Cayman Collective. So anyway, let's get straight into this. Is HTML still important in 2019, and will it be important in 2020? And the answer to that is, of course. It's kind of a trick question. That's kind of like asking the question: will water still be important to human life in 2020 and later on in 2019? Obvious answer to that is yes, of course. See, this is the thing about HTML. Everybody who actually is in technology should learn HTML, and even people who aren't going to get into development should learn HTML. I think everybody should know HTML. I think it should be taught in schools. I think HTML should be known by everybody. Okay, for those of you who don't know or might live under a rock, HTML is basically the skeletal system of the World Wide Web as far as like the front end of it, of like, what you see, of the websites, of what your web browser is decoding. Okay, that's HTML, and it's the skeleton of the website basically. You know, the information, the tags, everything placed in the page. That's not, the frills, the colors, the animation, everything that's not that. Just the information and the structure of the page is HTML. And HTML has kind of been put into a bunch of different type of how to put it. I guess you could say frameworks or like pseudo languages. I don't know what the proper term for it would be. Apologize for that, but you got things like JSX that's used in React. That's basically HTML. It pretty much is HTML. It differs in a few ways, which is why it's not HTML. Um, but it's basically, if you know HTML, you'll know JSX for React. Okay, and HTML is still necessary to know when you get into web development tools in other languages, like even in Java, like Java server pages, like the JSPs. You still have to know HTML. You still write HTML strings. For many different things, you still have to know HTML. HTML is important, and it's only getting bigger. Like I've noticed, it's only getting bigger. A lot of people are now using HTML for the front end of their apps. It wasn't like that before. Before, people were natively doing everything basically in whatever language they were writing it, whether it be Java, Python. You know, before, you had to know if you were going to make, let's say, Android app, you had to know Java all the way through. People were using Java to make the front end of those apps as well as the back end. Where now it's like you could use HTML and JavaScript for a front end, and then you can use Python, PHP, or whatever have you in the back end, and you can still natively make things for, uh, you know, like Android devices. Android devices run on Java. iOS devices run on Swift, and I think they ran on Objective C before then. Not sure about that, but I know that they run on Swift now, and you know, the Androids still run on the Java, and now that things are changing, JavaScript is kind of becoming the one one size fits all for front end and back end for web development, for making web apps. So if you're going to do anything web related, HTML, you need to know HTML. And even just styling things for a front end, you know, of an app, HTML, once again, the way that you can design and style things, it's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward with HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So, of course, no matter what year it is, as long as the World Wide Web is a thing, HTML will be vital. Okay? So, no matter what, you need to know HTML. And honestly, HTML is becoming so big that people in under other industries who aren't web developers or developers, period, people are now getting graphic design. People are marketing. People are doing stuff like that. You gotta know HTML. You know, times have changed. You need to know HTML going into 2019, 2020. Okay? So, um, you know, the way that I look at HTML, honestly, um, I look at the tags like they're sandwiches, you know? You gotta look at the tags like it's like sandwiches. That's the best way I could describe HTML, you know? Maybe I'll teach a little bit of HTML. I could, you know? But the best way I could describe HTML tags, if you are struggling with HTML and you are learning it currently, is think of it like sandwiches. You know, your opening tag is your top piece of bread. Then whatever you have in between the content, you right there. That's your ingredients. You know, your turkey, your ham, your cheese, all of that. You know, and then you can have attributes in your tag. That's kind of like like your sauce. You know, like maybe like your Russian dressing, mayo. You know, whatever people put on their sandwich. You know, you could see attributes as that, and then the closing tag is the last piece of bread, the bottom piece of bread. You know, that's the best way I could describe HTML. Uh, you know, in 20 seconds without showing you it. You know, I'll do a better job later on. But for anybody that does know HTML, when you think about it like that, you'll see that I'm right. You know, but yeah. Um, like I just said before, is HTML important to know in 2019 and going into 2020? Is water wet? Is the grass green? Yes, of course it is. All right. So this is the Cayman Collective signing out. Brought to you by the Cayman Collective. And yeah, I'm out.